Next topic, identifiers. Okay, identifier, as name suggests, it is for identification purpose. Okay, so in Java we have identifiers. Okay, so what is an identifier means? So any name in Java program is called identifier. Okay, it may be class name, or it may be variable name, or it may be method name, or it may be label name. Any name in Java program is called identifier. Okay, so it may be class name, it may be variable name, it may be method name, or it may be label name. Okay, now we'll see one example here. So suppose this is my sample program. Now we'll identify the identifier in this program. Okay, now so first it is what? Class demo. So demo is what? A class name. Okay, so it is a name, so it is a identifier. Okay, public static void, these are reserved words. Okay, these are reserved words, but main is a predefined method name. So it is also a reserved word. Okay, next, string is a predefined class name. So it is also a identifier. Next, args is array name. So it is also an identifier. Next, int is a reserved word, but temp is name of a variable and it is a type of int. Okay, so temp is a variable name, so it is also one identifier. Next, system.out.println. System is a predefined class name, so this is also one identifier. Next, out is a static inner class. This is also one identifier. Okay, next, println, it's a predefined method name, so this is also one identifier. Next, temp, it's a variable name, so it is also an identifier. Okay, in this program we have total 8 plus 1, total 9 identifiers we have. Okay, total we have 9 identifiers. Okay, total we have 9 identifiers. Now we'll see the rules to construct identifier. Rules. Okay, so the first rule is an identifier should be start with alphabets and special characters $ and underscore. Okay, so should be started with alphabets. It may be small case or uppercase, so no matter. And special characters, it allowed special characters only $ and underscore. Okay, so by mistake if you are giving any other symbols, it will give compile time error. Okay, it will give compile time error. Now we'll see example here. So take an example. Here I am taking Java file. Yes, so demo. Okay, so int, suppose here I am taking int AAA. Okay, it's a combination of alphabets. System.out.println AA. Okay, now it is allowed. Why means, so it is a combination of alphabets. Okay, small case and uppercase. Okay, now it is allowed. Okay, so just make sure, just to save this program, just to save as. So your file name must be demo. So demo.java. Now just to go to online classes. Here just to type cmd. So now we are in online classes folder, Java C space, so demo dot Java. Now you are compiling. So yeah, I forgot. Yes, after this just compile. Sorry, I forgot to save. Okay, so now my code compiled, right? So now Java space demo. Now I am running my program. Now it is printing 10, right? So now it is a valid one. Now it is a valid one. Same the way, if you want to use dollar, suppose if you want to use a dollar, means so dollar sum, okay, dollar sum, like here I'm taking dollar sum. Okay, now save your program, again run your program, just compile. After that you have to run. Now it is also working fine. Now suppose if instead of taking dollar here I am taking, suppose if it is a hash, okay, suppose if it is a hash, so what will happen? Hash sum. So what will happen? So it will raise one it will raise an error, compile time error. So at compile time only it will give an error. Okay, so it is not allowed, it is illegal character, it is a illegal, so it is not allowed here, it is not allowed here. Okay, so other than underscore and dollar, so you should not use other special symbols. So these are the first rule. Okay, next rule. So in terms of numerical values, okay, an identifier should not start with a number. Okay, next rule is what? An identifier should not start with a number, but a number can be part of an identifier. Okay, a number can be part of an identifier, but it should not start with an identifier. Okay, so next rule is what? It should not start with a number, but it can part of it. Okay, suppose 1 2 3, so 1 2 3 is invalid, 1 2 3 is invalid, but A to Z is a valid one, A to Z is a valid one. Okay, so 1 2 3, so why? Means this identifier starts with a number, this identifier starts with a number, so it is not valid in Java. But an identifier can part of, sorry, a number can part of an identifier. Okay, a number can part of an identifier, means, so now it is started with an alphabet and 2 is a part of it. Okay, now it is a valid one, but this is a invalid. Okay, now we'll see this one programmatically. So suppose A to Z, okay, 1 2 3 here I am taking, and suppose if I want to print 1 2 3, if you want to print 1 2 3, save your program, just run. So it is what? Error, not a statement. It is error, it is not a statement, means number, it should not start with anything, it should not start with a, sorry, any identifier should not start with a number. Okay, so that is a basic rule, but it can be part of it. So suppose, so here I am taking, okay, sorry, I forgot to assign values, even that will not work. So A to Z, okay, A to Z equals to 10, and same thing here I want to print A to Z, so it's not 10, it's a 26. Okay, A to Z equals to 26. So Java C, now it is a compile, right? So demo, okay, now it is a printing 26. Okay, an identifier should be started with alphabets and special symbols like dollar and underscore. And the second rule is what? and it should not start with a number, okay, numerical values, and it can be part of an identifier. Okay, number can be part of an identifier, but it should not be the first character. It should not be first character. So that is the rule number 2. That is the rule number 2. So next rule is you cannot use reserved words as an identifier. Reserved words as an identifier. Okay, you cannot use reserved words as an identifier. Okay, means suppose I want to declare int if equals to 10. Okay, int if equals to 10. This is not valid in Java. The reason, if is a reserved word, you should not use this as an identifier. Reserved word means it having some specific meaning. Okay, so that is the reason you should not use this as an identifier, right? So suppose to take an example. Where is my program? Yeah, here. So here if 26, and here the same thing, here I am passing 26. Okay, just to save your file. After that, just run your program. Now it is what? Not a statement. It is not a statement. Okay, so it is not allowed. Simply it is not allowed. Why? Means this if is a reserved word. It having some special meaning. Okay, so that is the reason you should not use this these reserved words as an identifier. Okay, so that is the rule number 3. And next rule, you can use predefined class names as a reserved word. Predefined class names. You can use a predefined class name as identifier. Okay, you can use a predefined class as an identifier. So predefined class means, so in Java we have predefined classes like system, string, like runnable, so likewise we have some predefined classes. So that predefined classes now you can use as identifier, but that is a not recommended one. Okay, because of some ambiguity, so it is not a recommended one. Suppose I take an example again, demo.java. So suppose here I am taking what I have to take, integer. So integer, okay, integer equals to, integer is a predefined class in Java. Integer is a predefined class in Java. Now here I am running my program, save Java C. Now it will work. Okay, it is also printing. Okay, it is also allowed. Okay, so you can use string as a identifier, or you can use a system as an identifier, and you can use integer as a identifier. So but it is not good programming practice. So it will create ambiguity. And it will create a confusion about your program. So that is the reason. So it is not recommended to use predefined classes as an identifier. Okay, so that is the rule number 4. Okay, Next rule is there is no length limit. There is no length limit. There is no length limit. There is no length limit for identifier. Okay, there is no length limit for identifiers. Okay, so this is one more rule. Okay, you can you can take any character length. Okay, you can take any character length. Suppose take an example. I have a value like okay, so this is the length. This is my variable name. This is my variable name. So I just copy and I have pasted here. Just save your program. Java demo. Yes, it is working, right? So identifier length you can take as much as you can, but too lengthy identifier are not recommended. Too lengthy identifiers are not recommended. Okay, it is not recommended, right? Okay, so it is not good programming practice, so it is not recommended. So this much length of identifier, it is not recommended. So use a small use a precise identifiers in your program. Now we need to identify the valid identifier here. Just identify valid identifier. The first one, it is AAA. It is a alphabet, and you just apply all the rules here. AAA, it is what? Only alphabets. Okay, it is a valid, the first, as per the first rule. So identifier can be started with a alphabets, small case or uppercase. It is a valid, and it is what? 1 2 3. 1 2 3. 1 is what? Number type. Okay, 1 is what? One number type. Okay, and identifier should not start with number, so it is invalid. It is invalid. A to Z. So A is, it's starting with what? Alphabets, so it's a valid one, and it can be consist number, so it is also valid. Next, so an identifier can be contain or special characters, that is what? Dollar and underscore, so it is also valid one. Total sum, it is also valid, so dollar symbol, it's a valid. Okay, yeah. So one more rule, that is what? It should not consist any white spaces. It is invalid. Okay, and identifier should not consist any white spaces, so it is a invalid. Next, integer, it is a valid. It's a predefined class name. You can use this as what? Identifier in your program, but it is not recommended, but even it is a valid. Int, it is not a predefined class, and it is not a reserved word, so you can use this int as identifier, but this int is a reserved word. Okay, this int is a reserved word. Okay, so it is invalid. Okay, now one more list is there. So Abhi. Okay, you can take any name as an identifier, no problem, you can take. Okay, so Abhi space 1 2 3, so white spaces are not allowed, so it is invalid. Next, Abhi underscore 1 2 3. Okay, so an identifier can consist special character dollar and underscore, so it is a valid one, no problem. Next, hash. So hash means it's a special symbol, so only allowed special symbols are dollar and underscore, but it is a hash, so simply it's an odd man out, it is a invalid. Next, it is also invalid. The reason? So @ symbol. @ symbols are what? Special symbol or special character, and hash also special characters. These two are not allowed. The reason? Only allowed special characters are only dollar, only dollar and underscore. Okay, so this is about identifiers concepts. Okay.